traveling to different part of the world. So definitely culture plays a very, very important role. But at the same time, it's not only culture, but we have got, like, for example, Nitin, what are, can you give us some examples of how this agile processes you have implemented maybe, and how it can benefit to the Indian economy as of now?
Okay, so Saju spoke about speed, collaboration, supplier ecosystem, uh, efficiency, effectiveness, on-time delivery, risk mitigation. In the fashion business, the entire supply chain revolves around OTIF. So basically, it is all about availability, availability, and availability. So if your product is not on the shelf, it is not available to the customer will switch loyalty. He has 100 other options to buy that product from any other retailer. However, in context to Fab India, when it comes to reducing lead times or minimizing waste or optimizing inventory, we are a sustainable brand. We have almost 55,000 artisans working for us across India in remotest places of India. But the supplier ecosystem, which Saju touched upon, the supplier ecosystem is so strong, developed 6.5 decades, since six and a half decades. There are almost 15,000 women artisans who are associated with us, homemakers, and everybody in the ecosystem ensures that the product is delivered on time. Even if we have to change anything, they are adapted. The change in the product is quick, and the delivery of the product is on time as per the dates mentioned. The company has ensured, Fab India has ensured that they are partners of the entire organization. So there are more than 5,500 artisans who are working with us, who are shareholders of Fab India. They have Fab India shares with them, so they are part of the the profits are shared with all those people. And as far as going global, going close to trend, driving innovation, these strong supplier relationships helps us in driving this. Apart from our design team, there are huge amount of inputs which are given by supplier on getting closer to trends, on developing new arts and crafts. And that is how Fab India, apart from India, we have 360 stores, but we are also globally present through 16 stores in India.
So thank you, Nitin. Now, if you look at, guys, we talked about the corporate side. We talked about, in terms of looking at how the challenges are in the Indian economy and so on. But in the morning, when we talked about, and I was also, really surprised to see, we saw that 45% of the companies are towards SMEs and, to the startups nowadays we talk about. So just to, Srinivas, like, for example, how do you think this agile procurement can contribute toward SME and the startup, and especially with AI now becoming very pervasive and so on?
Yeah, Rajesh. So AI is the buzzword now currently, and I have spent more than 25 years in the consumer electronics space, and currently I'm building my own startup. So again, I'll talk about two or three key things. One is how good is your systems, or can you embed AI into demand forecasting to ensure, typically what is critical is for any SME, or for that matter startup, or for that matter any corporation, what is important is no stockouts and no great inventories. So how lean you can build your inventories. I have seen in the consumer electronics space, I have seen brands delivering the fulfilling the orders to close to 5,000 retailers on a daily basis. So essentially, can you embed your AI or technology in terms of demand forecasting? That's one. The second thing is how good is your technology in terms of predictive maintenance of your factories. Can you build that and ensure that your equipments, your other stuff are having a predictive maintenance building the using the AI one. That's the second thing. Third thing is, again, how efficient is your overall logistics and value chain? Can you bring in technology to predict in terms of how good your logistics routes are, how optimal they are? So optimize the logistic route to ensure there's of course cost saving, and ensure, the, again, coming back to the time to market, that's very critical. And lastly, I definitely want to touch upon is sustainability. What Douglas mentioned early in the morning is how good you can use technology and AI to predict how your decisions are impacting the planet. So I think these are the three or four key things in terms of how do you want to really embrace technology and AI to ensure you are agile in terms of your procurement.
Thank you, Srinivas. Actually, if you see, guys, when we talk about technology, everyone is knowing about today AI. Everyone talks about it. But to the surprises, we can see that we are already using these technologies knowingly or unknowingly. Like, for example, we just talk about like big data. Now we hear these big buzzwords of big data. We talk about IoT. But if you see you're using Facebook, you're using Insta, for example, all this behind what works is big data. If you see sitting here, I can start a washing machine at home. It is working through IoT, for example. So if you see machine vision, for example, you talk about robotics, RPA they call it, robotic process automation, for example. If you see all these technologies, they are all coming under AI today. So without AI, there is not a single tool. That's what we normally talk about. So in this context, if you see the governments worldwide also are changing their landscapes as well. Governments are making their policies accordingly, for example, so that they can suit and they can give opportunities, one to the startups, for example, and having all this agility, for example, into the supply chain transformation. So in terms, let me ask Mr. Ajay that what do you think, how the government policies are going to impact this supply chain transformation in India?
See, from the perspective of the government policy as such, we have seen a larger changes giving a edge to the Indian business industry, whether you can say it is SMEs or maybe the manufacturing setup of large organizations. If I talk about last couple of years, we have seen India as a government signing a lot of FTAs. In 2022, India signed a FTA with UAE. Then subsequently, the FTA was signed from Australia, and we already have a FTAs running across from ASEAN and Japan. So there are a lot of facilities is being given to the industry to clearly edge about what in the morning was talked about China Plus, and India is really looking into the perspective of how we can leverage this the policies from the governments so that at least we can robust our processes of our manufacturing and we can be edge to the global demand processes, and that is really it is making a processes. And if you see it, I think recent some years we have seen it, the changes happens in the customs and custom department, because we all are sitting on the here, most of the people are aware of, like we used to take at least 3 to 5 days of custom clearance on of the goods, but now we can see it online, and every moment of the movement through the ice gate portal, every second or every minute. So that is the technology is playing a very pivotal role in India, where at least industries and manufacturers are taking leverage out of it. Because if you see the data, till 3 years back, at least in the logistics cost, around 1.5 to 2% of your logistics cost of import was going in the damage and detentions. So you can imagine the billions and billions dollar was going, and it was not benefiting to anyone. Neither it is a government, neither it is to manufacturer. So it is now the whole perspective has been changed, where the scenarios has been prospected with the organizational or manufacturer help. Government has come up with a lot of synergy to help industry to run their businesses. There are a lot of, I talked about FTAs. There are a lot of other manufacturing setup subsidies being given to the organizations, or to build up the processes of manufacturing setup, not only in India, but running across the world for Indian organizations. So that is where I think policies are playing a very pivotal role. And being a manufacturer, we are part of the policies within the government, and the governments are really, they are listening it to us that what policies we want, so that we can scale up our industrial output for the world as a large.
Thank you, Ajay. So if you look at, when we talk about this aspect, so what we are talking about, you see, without support, agile is not possible, right? We need to have support. We need to have the policies in place. We need to have a roadmap in place so that we can walk through this road and make India the dream what they are looking for. So in this context, okay, this is what we are talking about happening now. But let's ask from the participants and also from the panelists' point of view what they see. What will be the next decade for India if, in case you look at the agile procurement, for example, or the agile supply chain transformation, what we talk about? Just in a liner, what do you think? Let's say maybe Saju, what do you think? Just a liner. What do you think next decade India belongs to in this case, for example?
So in India, uh, for the next decade, the supply chain will transform through digitalization and the supplier engagement. It's the and also the sustainability focus to enhance the efficiency of the supply chain system in the next decade.
Fantastic. Srinivas.
Yeah, in a single line, everybody spoke about China plus one. So I think in the next couple of years, India would be the hub and the basic country for manufacturing for sure.
Okay, Nitin.
Yeah, there is huge amount of work which has already happened on visibility in supply chain. It is the most critical aspect from farm to fork in the food segment or from design to shelf in the apparel segment. So there is a huge amount of work at an pin code level. Today we know what is happening at that particular store, what are the trends that are predicted there. So I mean, we have already started at a great speed, and I'm sure we will go global.
Thank you, Nitin. Ajay.
I think the digitization, as I think everybody is talking about, currently we have 30% of the coverage. If you take at the average level in the Indian industry as a for a procurement as a supply chain perspective, so that thing, all the processes, whether it's AI, ML, RPA or blockchain, going to be a pivotal role playing it to coverage all the 70%, so that at least will be distinctive advantages across the globe to take as like a India as a leader in the processes of the manufacturing.
Thank you, Ajay. Guys, just, an open question. Do you think whatever we talked about now, whatever the panelists talked about now, do you think this is possible? Do you think this is feasible? Yes or no? Yes. Are we going on that path? Yes or no? Right? So if you see, all this what is happening is just because of the basic foundation of agility, right? So when we talk about this agility, when we say agile, unless and until we are flexible, unless and until we are adaptable to things, things will not change and we cannot go to the path as what we talked about. So that's why we talk about today, without agility, without being agile, and especially into this, when we talk about supply chain transformation, you see, guys, all of you may be into supply chain, into procurement. But if you look at, from the education point of view, because I'm from the education industry, for example, before, whatever I've worked for. If you look at, we are all working, we are just with experience. 1 year gone, 2 years gone, we just, proceed ourselves. But today, if you see, worldwide, there is certifications which are involved. Like there are so many, online courses which are involved and so on. So the point is what, even after experience, people are coming back to school, they say, in order to learn, because the best practices, they are changing at such a high speed that we will not be able to catch it unless we are there along with it. So with this, guys, I would just like to end in here. Like, I hope in this small, time of 40 minutes which was given to us, though we cannot cover much things, but as a summary, guys, just to say that, coordination, collaboration, and integration will definitely lead us to the scope what we are planning for and lead us to where we want to go for today and as well as for tomorrow. Once again, thank you so very much. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for this insights and insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge and thunderous round of applause for our speakers, our moderator? Thank you so much for this engaging session, speakers and moderator. Now I would like to call on the stage Mr. Percy Jal, engineer with full power, Senior Director, Academics and Blue Ocean Corporation. And also I would request Mr. Grant Swanepoel, Regional Lead Global Channels and Alliances Middle East and Africa at Association for Supply Chain Management, to please come forward and felicitate and to do the honors by felicitating our speakers and moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big, big round of applause. Come on, everyone. I request speakers to please come forward.
One by one.
All right. So I would request, let's start with the sequence. From you, let's start with you first. Absolutely. Everyone, give it up for Mr. Srinivas Rao, co-founder and CEO, Oaklet. May I now request Mr. Ajay Singh, Vice President Supply Chain Management, Hindustan Platinum, and Board Member of Studies and former HOD, SEM, Universal Business School. We would be happy to felicitate Mr. Nitin Joshi, Head of Warehousing and Logistics, Fab India. Further, we would like to say thank you to Mr. Saju Augustine, Director of Operations, Blue Ocean Corporation, Kochi, India. And now, our moderator, Dr. Rajesh Bhandari, Senior Director Academics, Blue Ocean Corporation. Awesome. Let's have a group photo together. Awesome, awesome. This concludes this amazing session, the panel discussion. Thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining us on the stage. Moving on to our next panel discussion. This is all about India's supply chain awakening, rising of a new leader. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another engaging panel themed on India's supply chain awakening, as we just spoke about. This discussion will engage in how India is emerging as a global leader in supply chain management, exploring the key factors driving this transformation and opportunities it represents for the future. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Mr. V.S. Ramchandran, Chief Financial Officer at Blue Ocean Corporation. A very, very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and
Am I audible? At the back? Yeah.
crystal clear, sir. Absolutely crystal clear. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome on the stage our speakers, Mr. Venkataraman Murthy Gadapelli, Head of Logistics and Warehousing, Liber India. A very warm welcome, sir. Let's welcome. थोड़ी सी तालियों के साथ little more energy and applause. Let's fill this house with more and more energy as we are going to welcome very, very soon Mr. Saurav Ganguly. I know you all are waiting for it. थोड़ा सा इंतजार. All right, let's go ahead. We would like to welcome on the stage Mr. Nikunj Desai, Head of Global Supply Chain, ACG Worldwide. A very warm welcome, Mr. Nikunj Desai. Join me to welcome on the stage Mr. Ashish Tripathi, General Manager, Global Sourcing, Logistic and Agency, TOM. A very warm welcome, sir.
Hi, Ashish. Nice to see you.
Let's welcome Mr. Sudipta Chatterjee, Senior Program Director, Procurement and ACM at Blue Ocean Corporation. A very warm welcome, Mr. Sudipta Chatterjee. All right, so we're excited to know what this session unfolds now. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't see any energy in this room. Okay. I hope you have not all gone to sleep. I think there's an information overload, I think, as far as I can see. But doesn't matter, because this is not one of those ordinary days. This is a very special day because we have brought together the who is who of supply chain management professionals. They are sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, their experience with you. So be as attentive. I can see most of you are still working on your mobile phones and smartphones. If you can just keep it aside for about 40 minutes, I'm sure it's well worth that investment. Those messages are already there. Today I know is the last day of voting. So let's not worry about the exit polls and all that. That can wait. Let's get some more knowledge, some more gyan about supply chain management. Thank you very much, my dear colleagues here who are assembled here. And the last two sessions, we have been talking about Bharat Mart, how to make India a great supply chain management, supply chain destination. And of course, we were talking about Rajesh's session where he was talking about agile procurement, which is a very, very essential element of supply chain management. Now we are, I think, graduating to the next level where we are talking about India's supply chain awakening. Is the country awakening? And is it ready to take the role of a new leader? How many of you know which is the most populous country in the world? Do you know which country is that? We recently overtook China as the most populous country in the world. Not only that, I believe about 30% of our population is below the age of 25. And 60% of the population is below the age of 35. So what does that indicate? That indicates an availability of huge supply of professionals, people like you, people who can transform the supply chain scenario in the world. And of course, lead India to the pole position. So with that initial introduction, I want to pose one of these questions. During pandemic, we all realized that we have all put all our eggs in one basket. Correct? We were all struggling. We didn't know where the next supply could come from. And this was an uncharted territory because I don't think anybody alive today has seen a similar situation, because the last one I think was more than 100 years ago. Of course, I had some relative who was living 102, recently passed away. So probably he would have seen it. But apart that, I don't think anybody would have seen such a scenario. So post-pandemic, today, the supply chain professionals are stressing more on just in case rather than our traditional approach of just in time. We have always talked about just in time. Why? Because we wanted to economize on cost. We wanted to become efficient. We wanted to reduce our operating cost. So we're talking about just in time. But the pandemic changed the whole scenario. And it has now become more of just in case. So is this reflecting in the Indian market also? I would request Nikunj to take this first question. I believe you've also written some articles on this. So you are probably the right guy to answer this. Go ahead, sir.
Morning. Am I audible? Yeah. So, good morning, friends. I think so. During pandemic, that was the first time I think so. The world has seen a supply shock, isn't it? People generally see a demand shock or a demand reduction, but this was the first time world experienced a supply shock. That what if? And I think so. During that time, even Prime Minister mentioned in a 30-minute speech, supply chain almost close to around 20 or 25 times. Even probably, my mother came to know what is supply chain, and she was not aware that what I am doing for so many years. So apart from that, we always talk about new normal, but now we are in a situation where it is never normal. And we always, have as someone was also mentioning, I think so, one of the panels, that there are different hours in the day. So that's how we are living. Probably, there were earlier, different days, but now, hours are different in the day. especially with the dependency on the global supplies and etc., and the way we are also picking up in terms of China plus one and other things. So probably the reliability factor is the main thing which will be there, and there are many geopolitical things happening, like, and which are not in our hands
Correct.
given the situation, like
Very true.
Suez Canal challenges, or let's say Panama Canal because of the drought. Uh, People will not believe 2 years back there was a drought even in France. In Europe, rivers were drying up. So there are many things in terms of the climate which are acting funny, geopolitical tensions which are happening, and yet in that situation, plus the demand variation and demand uncertainty that's happening. So in given this situation, the earlier supply chains were always configured for efficiency, but probably now someone in the earlier panel spoke about agility, but there is also one word called resilience, which absorbs a lot of uncertainty, shocks, and how you are resilient to absorb those shocks. And one of the, apart from the de-risking and other aspects, but one of the thing to manage the shock on immediate basis is also a just in case inventory. Our friends who are sitting here from Fab India as well as Srinivas mentioned about inventory optimization. So it's not like just in case is a runaway inventory, but what you need, and plan it in a way, in a combination of VMI or what we are also implementing. My good friend here, Manoj, is also sitting here, who was in the earlier panel. We are also implementing it as a combination of many things: inventory at our end, inventory at supplier end, and many other different formulations, probably in terms of the forecasting, etc. And that's how we are doing. Now, people said about AI and forecasting. There are many friends who I know in consumer industry, they have deleted 2 years data.
That's it.
Because there was no reliability in those data, because sometimes it was up, it was sometimes it was down, and probably I don't know how to plan with that data is what our friends are saying. So in those scenario, even we have AI, ML, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, then it is the man behind the machine.
Very true.
There
Very true.
it boils down to that. In those scenarios, I'm not, please don't take me wrong, that I'm not saying that the forecasting tools don't work, but what I'm trying to say, given the data, probably the prediction becomes a challenge, and with the uncertainty. So in that case, probably to summarize, one is the supply reliability, probably that is becoming the crux today. Then demand uncertainty, geopolitical issues, climate issues which are happening. Plus, if you want to stand up and still be in the market and compete globally, with all these uncertainties in terms of shipping delays, etc., etc., then probably just in case inventory is becoming a norm, rather than it is a nice to have thing.
Okay.
That's my take on this subject.
Okay. So that's an interesting observation. So the move is now more towards satisfying the demand. As he rightly said, we have never experienced a supply shock until the pandemic hit us, right? Because we always thought everything is available and we always took it for granted. So we are moving from efficiency, which was what just in time was all about, towards just in case. How do I mean, as Nitin, I think, like Fab India was telling, in the retail industry, if a customer, research shows that if a customer enters your sales outlet and he doesn't find his product, chances are he will never visit your outlet again. So 1 in 3 customers will never visit the shop again. That's a huge loss, just because you didn't have the merchandise which the customer was expecting out of you, right? So with this uncertain market, I think the cost control, which is always a financial outlook, has taken a little bit of backseat, because I think it's better to make the product available and sellable. So I think all of you may have to think about it. How do we manage our inventory, make things available for the customer? Thanks very much, Nikunj. Now, we have been hearing a lot about India, about the success story, and what is in store And as I said, with a huge population, there's a lot of demand inside the country itself. Forget about meeting the demand of the world. So we are poised to become a 5 trillion economy and also the world's third largest economy. By the right now, we are, I think, the fifth place. So we are supposed to become the third largest economy by 2027. But do you think India has really built the foundation to achieve this from a supply chain perspective? Or is it some sort of a wish, an expectation, or rather an over expectation? So, what do you think, Venkat, is your take on this? Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I'm audible. Thanks, Ram. And
Just
it's definitely a privilege to be amongst you all and definitely functional experts like this. The question Ram has posed is something which we have been hearing every day in and out in India. In fact, the bunch of papers what I carry is maybe 1% of the bunch of documents which are available in the internet to showcase or to give you confidence that India is going to become a 5 trillion economy by 2027 or much before that. To start with, in fact, I was reading some articles. I think one of the international banks says that by 2075, India will be number 2 in GDP. One of the international agencies says that by 2050, India will be second in GDP. The first GDP is around 27 trillion, which is US.
Mhm.
Second is China, which is around 17 trillion. My figures can be here and there. If China becomes number 1, let's say by 2050, it has to cross 27 trillion because US cannot come down.
Correct.
If India has to become number 2, it has to again cross 27 trillion.
Yeah.
So when you look at these kind of things, figures coming from international agencies who are much more recognized, definitely much, much bigger than me, I'm sure we are poised to get into 5 trillion. Now, there are some data I will be sharing with you all also. Today, we are at around 3.7, 3.9. There are a number of figures are coming up. In fact, last quarter, we have done 8.2 growth, and one of the articles says that we are at 4.11 trillion.
Okay.
So this 5 trillion has come because the third person who is in the line is Japan. Germany, Japan. Japan is around 4.25, 4.3 trillion. So if we have to overtake that, we have to go to around 5 trillion is the way. That's how the India has picked up 5 trillion economy. Now we are already at 4 trillion minimum. Last quarter, we have done 8.2. If you look at yesterday's article, it is there in Times of India headlines. If you take the same, extrapolate the data, in 2 years or 3 years, we will cross 5 trillion. It's so easy for us to do. Now, is it something like a mathematical calculation is what we all have to understand. So I'll take few minutes here to tell you GDP generally on a theoretical front are counted on 4 different parameters. One is on the consumption. Second is on the government expenditure and the government investments, what they do plus defense. Third is the investment coming from the other things like private parties and all. And the last one is the differentiation between import and exports. If you look at India, our consumption is around 2.1 to 2 trillion. And the irony of this is we are the largest, most populous country. We still have around 80 plus million under poverty. We still have around 34 million plus, which is extreme poverty. Even today, around 60% of the population of India is surviving on 300 rupees per day. When you look at the hunger index, we are at 151 or some position. So when you look at all these kind of the potential what India has is enormous. On the other side, on the consumption part, we are only one industry which is self-sufficient is textile industry today. Maybe definitely our colleague, my previous friend, the previous panel, Fab India will definitely agree to that. We are extremely good when it comes to textile industry. A little bit doing good for the last couple of years when it comes to our agriculture, but not all the kind of pulses or dry fruits and all. We still import a lot of things. So when you look at these things, there is a tremendous amount of inherent, our own internal requirement are there. Only then we can go. Our per capita GDP, we are at 157 position something. Even though we are at 5th position on the GDP overall, but our per capita GDP, we are still at 157.
But that's always bound to be the case with a larger denominator.
Absolutely.
You will
So
definitely be
why
lower
I'm
on
giving
it.
these references are those data which is coming out saying that India is going to be number 2
Yep.
is bound to happen. I have some data which I'll read for you all. little fast I'll go. One of the biggest thing what I want to convey is, in fact, I happened to meet 3 weeks back. There was an association from Netherlands Chamber of Commerce discussing the same supply chain, where I was also one of the participants, and I was surprised to see a very young and smart guys wearing a three-piece suit, looking absolutely trim and fit. You can never make out that they are not from a corporate. They are not. Actually, they are all bureaucrats.
Hmm.
Indian government has made I want to read the names. You all have to give me a couple of minutes time. It's called PM Gati Shakti. Under that, 16 different ministries have been brought under one roof. And they have a expert sitting with them, and these people go into all the forums. And they all are below 35, whomever I've seen there. And I'm assuming extrapolating that. These guys go and they facilitate the business requirements from their side. So this is such a fantastic step. It's true. Government should not have an interest in the business.
True.
Government should enable the business. And I find those things happening currently. Of course, the reforms have been put in 1991. Now we can see the things moving faster. In the last 5 years or 6 years, India has spent almost more than 10 trillion rupees or something like that each year only on the infrastructure.
Capex.
Our infrastructure is extraordinarily growing. In fact, one of the report Nirmala Sitharaman has presented saying that we are planning for 102 trillion rupees towards the infrastructure development. Out of that, almost 42% is already in the execution. 37% is again coming into the development and conceptual stage, and the other is development stage. This is kind of things are happening. The third part, what I said about the government expenditure and all, there itself you are going on increasing the GDP
Sure.
by investing money. So there are hundreds of things. There are programs like, we call it as National Infrastructure Pipeline, National Monetization Policy, PM Gati Shakti, National Logistics Policy. I have never heard in India having a logistics policy. It could have been there. Maybe today this government or not political, maybe publicizing it's pretty good, but it's fantastic to know there is something called National Logistic Policy.
So we're on the right track. That means
Absolutely.
we're on the right
And
track.
I'm confident that 5 trillion is a very easy mark.
Easily
to go.
marked.
The most important point for us is that it's not the reaching, it's the sustainability.
True.
And there is a tremendous amount of efforts from the government to ensure that it's sustainable for the future.
Very true. There's always a saying, it's very difficult to reach the top, but it's more difficult to remain there. So I'm sure, as Venkat nicely put it, the efforts are already can be seen, and I'm sure Mumbaikars may really see the new tunnel which is enabled, and I think which has reduced your commuting time a considerable amount of time. So we hope all these new projects will, push India into a different, it'll really activate things, and I'm sure we'll be one of the leaders in supply chain. I don't think that's an empty dream. Definitely that is going to happen. But having said that, I would like to ask Ashish, how can India play a dominant role, given this advantages, given this, of course, there are difficulties as well. How do you think India can play a dominant role in the global supply chain stakes? Have we really leveraged our strengths? Or we find, as somebody was saying, that smaller economies like Vietnam have cornered some of the opportunities. Have we really taken advantage of those strengths? Or what do you think? What is your opinion of that, Ashish?
I
I'm
think-
so sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt the session in between.
No
Ladies
problem.
and gentlemen, the most awaited moment. I request everyone to give big round of applause, and let's welcome with a thunderous round of applause, Mr. Saurav Ganguly, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman of the ICC Cricket Committee, former BCCI President and former Indian cricket team captain. A very warm welcome, Mr. Saurav Ganguly. How are you? Kaise hain Saurav? Very happy to see you. A very warm welcome at Blue Ocean Corporation, IPSC 2024. Imagine this is a cricket stadium. How would you shout for Saurav sir? Can I hear it from you, everyone? Awesome. That's how we love Saurav sir. But we continue the session and we are going to meet him. We would love to hear from Saurav Ganguly very soon on the stage.
Thank
I
you.
request my team to
Yeah,
please
yeah. Thank you.
continue.
Thank you very much. And warm welcome to you, Dada. Nice to see you in person. So continue, Ashish.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, we always hear this China plus one. Yeah. So we always hear this China plus one, right? And as a nation, we have this aspiration of excelling ahead of China. But I think before that, we have Vietnam, countries like which we need to address. We heard in the previous panel the geopolitical things affect
Very true.
the nature of business which we come from as a ship owners.
Mm.
You know, the current ones with the Red Sea, the
Correct.
Houthis are not going to stop sooner. Now we have to devise way that how can we go via Cape of Good Hope, and now South Africa becomes a key port for us to do a lot of things now. So it will keep on changing. Coming back onto the topic of Vietnam or other countries which we really want to beat into that. Uh, as a supply chain practitioners, because the not just the cost escalates on the supply chain front, but also you need to visit on the various places where you can maximize.
Sure.
So if I consider it as a new company or a new organization which is coming to India, there are various things, broadly 2 or 3 things, which makes a difference, which is about the availability of the labor or the workforce. Is the location really good? You know, you are at the perfect location if you want to start the manufacturing facility. And the third is that is it conducive to have a cutting edge technology?
Sure.
So if we compare that with India, yes, we have heard, you know, we are going to become 5 trillion and bigger economy. You have the biggest supply base, cheap labor, one of the biggest countries speaking in terms of the English, second biggest nation to speak
True.
English. So all that takes apart, right? If you compare it with the various industries which it can address to, yes, we can be in the electronics, we can be in the automotive, we can be on the med tech, you name it, and we will be,
We'll
you
be
know, we do that. Yes, textile is good, but will not be moving, sorry to say, that much needle which we want to add because there is a long base to cover us for. So in terms of the policies, what government has done, whether be in terms of infrastructure, whether be the technology, whether be the availability of the manpower, that all has been done. But if we compare it with, say, again, a country as a Vietnam, uh, if I put a number, you're talking close to $96 billion is what they exported last year compared to India, which was somewhere around 76 billion.
Oh, that's
Look at their GDP percentage as a part of manufacturing, which is close to 25-26%, whereas India is around 14-15%.
okay.
Uh, compare that 28 states now, you know, as having a different policy versus one nation policy.
Yep.
So there are, you know, various bases which as a nation we need to cover. There has been done a lot. But if I say, if you walk into a business park or an industrial park, they will be hand holding you right from, you know, setting it up also to operating. Whereas that is what as a nation we need to let go of these various authorities about that.
Sure.
You know, there has to be really a single window to get the business done. And then as an owner, I want to run my business and make sure that, you know, we need to. I just like to add it on the last 10-15 seconds from the shipping industry perspective.
Sure.
Is putting a number again about close to 93% of the trade which we do, it is done on a foreign flagged vessels.
Mhm.
Meaning that it is not flagged by in India. We have ma'am from SCI, so she knows it very well. But you know that way it really, and if you put a outgo, you're talking close to $53 billion of, you know, you're paying the foreign flagged vessel. So being an Indian ship owner, there's not really advantage which you get. So that is what probably, and it is working. I'm not saying that needle is not moving. I'm just waiting that all the ingredients are there. It's just that the chef has to come together and then, you know, prepare the dish, because it is going to happen soon,
Yeah.
hopefully.
You're talking about shipping industry. I recently attended an event in Dubai, and I was actually amazed at the steps the UAE government is actually taking to address this one issue of having ships which bear the UAE flag. You know, traditionally, you know, these ships are registered out of different countries like Liberia and other countries. But as he rightly said, why don't we look at that as one of the important areas? Although given, I think there are a lot of Indian crew in many of the ships. So we are already supplying a huge manpower to the shipping industry. But it's a kind of a sad thing that we don't promote the vessels being flagged out of India. And I'm sure that will all come. But I'm quite happy to note, I think, I mean, you are also confirming the fact that, you know, the steps are in the right direction. And it's only thing we need continuity of policy. We need to have the same approach. There should not be any, break in what we are doing. And I'm sure the market will eventually dictate what requires to be done. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for that insight. Um, we all know that everything, there is this element of risk. Even crossing the road could be a risky affair. Even taking a shower in a bathroom could be a risky affair. I know what I hope you know what I'm trying to say. You understand what I'm trying to say. Now, what are the major risks that India should prepare for? Sudipta, I'll request you to answer this. So, what are the major risks that India should prepare for, especially in key areas like infrastructure, communication, labor supply, etc., etc., so that we can build a very sustainable supply chain pipeline? So, Sudipta, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's really exciting to be present in the middle of such august audience. Well, the question posed is, what risks should India prepare for? Well, to say the least, risks in India are as diverse as India itself. Yeah. So we have heard other speakers earlier this morning talk about artificial intelligence, cyber security. But I would like to go back to most fundamental things. Water crisis in India.
Oh,
According to a recent World Bank report, 18% of the world's population is hosted by India.
18%.
18%.
Okay.
Whereas India has enough water to support only 4% of the global population.
My God, that's a huge.
Yes. So you
huge
can
gap.
well imagine how stressed and how severe this crisis could be in the near future. Why I'm saying so? Because if you look at water, be it agriculture, be it industries, chemical, be it fertilizers, there are a lot of industries which are heavily, be it power supply, which are very heavily dependent on water. So water, like a lot of initiatives are being taken, but still there is a lot to do. Yeah, like aquafire, that's a technology available where you can store water and pump it up when necessary.
Sure.
You can also have technologies like blue roof, where there are areas which are hardly there is any rainfall. There you can store the rainfall on the rooftop and utilize them as and when necessary. So the next, beyond power supply, beyond water supply, I would like to go to another very important backbone of infrastructure, which is power.
Sure.
Although over the recent years, India has done relatively well in power supply, but still, there's a lot to go. In fact, the average electricity available in the rural household is around 22 hours a day. It's still not more than 23 hours. And the power sector still has its own challenges, like low plant load factor. Yeah.
Sorry, we are running out a little bit tight on
Okay,
time.
I'll just wind up quickly.
Yeah, if you can just summarize
Yeah.
for the benefit of the audience. So, what do you think as the.
Okay, power supply has to be improved. And finally, we have to reduce bureaucratic risks.
Sure.
Yeah. If we have to take that advantage of China plus one, we have to also take care of health. India is supposed to be the next diabetic capital of India. So health, geopolitical risks, cyber security, these are very, very important areas that we need to
Thank you,
gear
thank
up
you,
for.
thank you, Sudipta. I mean, he's really painting the dark picture. So I think there's a lot of things going for India. I'm very upbeat about the potential for this country. And I'm sure all of you are having a dream and a vision for yourself as well as for the country as well as for donor organizations. All we just need to put this into practice wherever you can, plan, expect, improve, be on the cutting edge, increase your knowledge. That's very, very important. I was telling somebody at some stage, you have to start investing in yourself. You invest in yourself, you become an expert, a knowledgeable person, irrespective of the industry or the organization you're working. Invest in yourself, because that knowledge nobody can take away from you. So with that, a small, I'm sure it was a bit of a short session. I'm sure there's a lot of things to talk about. But thank you very much. Thank you, panelists. Thank you for coming over and addressing. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And what a beautiful line it is said, invest in yourself. I totally agree with that. I totally second that. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the stage Dr. Rajesh Bhandari, Senior Director Academics at Blue Ocean Corporation. And also I would request Mr. Ahmed Mustafa, Director Consulting at Blue Ocean Corporation, to please come forward and felicitate our speakers and our moderator. Starting with our moderator, Mr. V.S. Ramachandran, Chief Financial Officer at Blue Ocean Corporation. May I request Mr. Ahmed and Dr. Rajesh Bhandari to do the felicitation. Awesome. May I request Dr. Rajesh and Mr. Ahmed to do the honors. Mr. Venkataraman Murthy Gadapelli, Head of Logistics and Warehousing, Libre, India. And everyone together with me. Thank you. May I now request Mr. Nikul Desai to please come forward. Mr. Nikul Desai, Head of Global Supply Chain, ACG Worldwide. I now request Mr. Ashish Tripathi, General Manager, Global Sourcing, Logistic and Agency, TOM. Everyone together? Awesome. Thank you very much. May I now request Mr. Sudipta Chatterjee, Senior Program Director of Procurement and SCM at Blue Ocean Corporation. Thank you so much for your valuable insights, all the speakers and our moderator for conducting the session so beautifully. Absolutely, I'm not going to let them go without a group photo. May I request everyone to please join me for the group photo on the stage. Once again, give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this fantastic panel discussion. Thank you so much, speakers. Thank you so much, our moderator, for conducting this session so beautifully. You know what, it is said that now we are going to talk about from the pitch to the boardroom, aligning leadership strategies for high performance. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to have your complete attention now. This is the moment we all had been waiting for. We are honored to have a very special guest here with us today. A legendary cricketer and an inspiring leader who has made immense contribution to the world of cricket and beyond. Please give a big round of applause in welcoming our chief guest, Mr. Saurav Ganguly, Chairman of the ICC Cricket Committee and also the former President of BCCI and the former captain of Indian cricket team. Ladies and gentlemen, give a very warm welcome on the stage to you, sir. A very warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly honored to have Saurav Ganguly here with us, amongst us. And here I request you to please add more light into this moment by your words.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Satya. Thank you, Jayesh. Thank you, Satya's team, for giving me this opportunity to be here this afternoon. I've been here in Bombay since yesterday, doing various other work, but the basic reason for me being in this part of India is for Blue Ocean Corporation and Satya and his team. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting me here, for making me the face of the brand in India. and I'm sure in the days to come, this will be a very important brand in our country. It's a well-established company in Dubai. As you see, a lot of the delegates are here from Dubai as well. It's a it's a I would say consulting, training, supply chain management is something which is coming new to India, and I'm sure Satya at some stage will bring you the intricacies of the business, how he works, and what he makes available for the companies, for the corporates. In basic terms, it's about managing. It's about managing an entire project and try and make it more feasible, more friendly, more cost uh, productive for the investors. And I hope Satya and his team within a short period of time will be able to deliver a lot more as they have done in Dubai for the last 26 years. For this afternoon, when they met me, they wanted me to speak about leadership and management, and in business and in sport. uh, Obviously, I've been from a sporting fraternity and understand leadership a lot more. But I think in every project, every initiative, and every aspect of life, leadership is very important. In business, when you drive an unit, when you drive progress, uh, for me the most important person is the leader and his team, and it's the same in cricket. It's a captain's game, quite different from what football is. Uh, and uh, and I've always said a good team must have a good leader, and in business I presume it's also the same. As you saw, I got introduced by the lady, Captain of India, President of BCCI, and blah blah blah, many other portfolios which I've held over a period of time. The most important thing which I'd learned in my journey was leadership, how to lead, how to manage, how to work with individuals, and I think that's the most important aspect in development. And in consulting, in supply chain management, it is actually the individuals, the people who you work with, take the brand forward. So in my journey to leadership and understanding leadership, I learned, I understood, and I practiced. And that is very important, and I practiced certain things, which was very important in taking my team forward. I know many of you here in this room are die-hard followers of cricket. I know you've seen some great players our country has produced over a long period of time. You've seen some great teams India has had over a long period of time. But behind everything, you know, behind all the successes, behind all the great players, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of leadership, there's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of management. So when I talk about leadership, not only just in the corporate world, but in the sports world, for me, the most important thing is man management. It's the people who you work with. In this room, in business, you have so many. You have so many you deal with, maybe thousands, lakhs. But in a cricket team, you dealt with 15 or maybe 20, 15 or 20 who was selected from the millions who played the sport in our country. And we live in a cricket crazy country, a country where every young boy or a girl, and now girls as well, every young boy or a girl wants to play for the country, wear their blue shirt, and be successful. So in your journey to success as a brand, as a team, as a corporate, nothing changes from a sports team. It's about the leader managing the individuals. I was captain of a side, and India being a vast country, there were players from all over the country. Somebody was from the south, somebody was from the north, from the east, from the west, and every one of them was different. Every individual was different from the other. And I think that's where man management came in on our journey to be successful. I was fortunate enough to lead some great players, some players who probably are still role models to many of you in this room, the likes of Dravid, Tendulkar, Lakshman, Sehwag. You see the current crop of Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Pant, some of these great players who have donned Indian colors over a long period of time. Uh, and in my journey as a leader to be a successful unit, it was very important that I manage those individuals differently, because everyone is not the same. Everyone is not the same, and everyone has different habits. Everyone has and most importantly, everyone has different ways of being successful. In a corporate world, when you work with a group of individuals, you must understand that every individual is different. Every individual will have his own way to take the brand forward. It's no different in sport, it's no different in cricket. And I think that's where leadership, whether it's in supply chain management, that's where leadership in professional life, that's where leadership in personal life, and that's where leadership in sporting life comes in. It's important that you allow every individual to perform, and you manage them in a way that they are in a position to express their ability. Many of us in this room, and many of us outside, once you get into a leadership position, you believe that because I'm in such a position, because I've been given the authority to lead this group, it should work the way I think. It doesn't happen like that. The best leaders work with people and adjust to people. As they said, you hire CEOs to tell you what to do, and it's never the other way around. It's never the process of my way or the highway. It's about the process of accepting what individuals have, the talent they have, the way they want to work, and then channelizing it to the performance of the unit. Along with managing individuals, along with giving them the freedom to express themselves, the biggest challenge and the biggest capability or the quality which a leader must have is to take the fear factor away from individuals. There are people in this room, there are people in the business world, there are people in the sporting world who want to succeed. They get into this to succeed, to make a name for themselves, and for them the biggest worry is the fear of failure, is the fear that what happens if I don't succeed. For all of you, it's it's an opportunity. For all of you, it's a brand. When you played for the country, when you played for India, there was only one team. In a professional world, in a business world, if it's not Blue Ocean, it's some another company. If it's not the Ambanis, it's the Adanis. If it's not the Adanis, it's the Tatas. If it's not the Tatas, it's the Jindals. You have opportunity, you have options. But in a sporting world, if you did not play for India, you had no other option but to go back and play first class cricket. So the drop from being a country's hero to a normal person was a couple of games away. So the pressure, the expectation, the demands were a lot more in your journey to success. And I think that's where a leader comes in. That's where a leader in a professional world, in a world of high pressure, high expectation, comes in with his capabilities of taking the fear away, the fear of failure away. You create an atmosphere where they go and express themselves. I had some great players in the team, players who played differently, players who had different approaches to the game. And once you selected them, once you gave them an opportunity to play, it was about allowing them to go and play the way they want to. And this is very important in professional world as well. As I've said, you don't hire people to tell them what to do, but it's the other way around. I'll tell you, I was fortunate enough to captain a player like Virendra Sehwag, and I hope there is not much of media in this room. I had the uh, I had the fortune and the good luck to captain someone like him. And I'll tell you a small story. He was a young boy who came from Delhi. He was from Najafgarh, an absolute raw talent, an individual with a lot of ability, an individual with fears as well. He walks into a dressing room with a Dravid or a Tendulkar or a Ganguly or a Kumble, and he knows that he has to perform. He has to perform to survive at this level. A week before the start of the first test, I I meet him at breakfast, and I had this in my mind that I'll ask him to open in test matches. He was never an opener. He was someone who played all his career in the middle order for Delhi. And I remember that conversation with him that morning. I went up to him and said, Viru, you're such a fantastic player, but you're not been able to get a game because you had Dravid at 3, Tendulkar at 4, myself at 5, and Lakshman at 6. He said, I said, someone like you cannot be just sitting on the benches because it'll take a long time to get into the squad, and I don't want you to do that. So I said, why don't you open? Why don't you open and give it a go? And I could see it on his face that because he was a young player walking into a dressing room of great players, he couldn't tell me no because this is something which he has never done in his life. But at the same time, he wanted to play. He wanted to play, but had this fear that what happens if I don't succeed because I've not opened in my life as a batsman. And I could see that in his face. So the next question, next immediate answer from him to me was, Dada, I've never done this. I said, so what if you've never done this? And I knew what the next question was what happens if I get out early with the new ball? What happens if I fail? And I think that's where leadership comes in. You'll have a lot of people who you select in your journey to success in your company, who will take the brand forward, who will create the deliverables for the companies who you work with. They will have this mindset. They will have this fear because they want it badly. They want to be in the team. They want to be in the brand. They want to make a name for themselves. They will have this fear of failure in them. And I think that's where captaincy, that's where leadership, that's where management comes in. You find a way to take it away from him. And I remember that conversation with Viru, and I said, it doesn't matter if you fail because you're doing something for the team. You're doing something which is out of your position. You're doing something which you've never done before. So even if you don't get runs as an opener, we will find an opportunity for you to bat down the order. The conversation continued. At the end of the conversation, he said, can you write that on a piece of paper for me? I said, this is not a legal court that you want me to write something on a piece of paper. This is a cricket team where selection happens on the basis of performance, and you have to take my word and go and perform. He opened for India and became one of the best openers India has had ever in the history of Test and One Day cricket. Even after playing 100 Test matches, I remember a press conference where he said, I want to bat in the middle. So I called him up because I had finished playing by then, and I said, are you mad? Why have you said this again after playing 100 Test matches? He said, no, Dada, I was taking the mickey out of everyone. I said, you would not have been a player. You would not have been the player you are or what you've achieved over the last 10, 11 years if you hadn't opened for India. And I say this to all of you because in your journey to deal with individuals, and you are a company where you'll have more people because you work for others, you manage others' projects, you create the backroom work, and you make sure that the company who you work with at the end of the day loses less and makes more. So you will have to deal with people who will come with various ideas. You will have to deal with people who look things differently. And at the same time, as the boss, as the leader, you'll have to find a way to get the best out of them. So in your journey to success, and in your journey to create an unit which is successful, it's about managing the individuals who you work with. Because they say in sport, they say in business, your biggest investment is investment in personal investment in the people who you work with. And for me, it's a step forward. It's not just investment in the personal, but it's about managing the person, creating an environment where he gives the best for you. So for me, the first and the foremost thing about leadership is about managing individuals and taking the fear factor away. The next most important in your journey to success is handling pressure. This is something very common to everyone. It's a bit more in sport, a lot more in sport, as I said, because you have only one team, one national team, where 15 or rather 11 of the millions who play the sport get an opportunity to play. And you're always under the radar, you're always under the expectation of people, you're always under the scrutiny of people. There is always somebody trying to think that somebody else is better than the other. And as a performer, as an employee, as a leader, as an individual, your biggest reason of success or the biggest reason of failure is how you handle pressure. There's pressure in everyone's life, and pressure doesn't finish. One young player asked me that, how did you deal with pressure? I said, from the day I first wore the whites as a young boy at the age of 13 or 14, and the day I finished taking those whites off at the age of 40, there was always this pressure of expectation. There were always this pressure of performance. There was always this pressure of being better than the other. There was always this pressure of achieving the goals. There was always this pressure from a business point of view of achieving the targets. You have to find a way to deal with it. And the most important and the easiest way of dealing with pressure is to accept it. It's about me rather than why me. I've seen individuals who you put them in a responsible position. First question they would ask is why me? Why not somebody else? And the best in the business, and the best in the business, and the best in the group will look for that opportunity. I've always said to young entrepreneurs, young individuals, every time you get an opportunity, every time you get an opportunity, or every time you're put into a difficult position, whether to lead a project, whether to bat at number 3 for India in places like South Africa, Australia, or the West Indies, or to become a CEO of the company, don't look at it as a pressure. Look at it as an opportunity to succeed. That's the only way you can deal with pressure. When you're put in big positions, when you're put in difficult circumstances, look at it as an opportunity. And once you start to look at pressure, face pressure, handle pressure over a period of time, it becomes a part of your system. When I finished playing cricket after a period of 20 years, I still remember doing an interview with one of the leading newspapers in the country. And it was a journalist who had seen me play all throughout my career and someone who I had known very closely. I remember the question he asked me when I finished. He said, you've played for such a long period of time, you've achieved so much, you've been captain of India. What is it that you miss? What is it that you miss after 15, 16 years at the international level? I still remember, and I genuinely meant what I answered him that afternoon. I told him, I miss that challenge. I don't miss the money. I don't miss the fame. I don't miss the dressing room. I don't miss the grandeur. I don't miss the five-star hotels, the luxury travel, the accolades of the people. But what I miss is the challenge. What I miss is that opportunity to become successful. What I miss for us, it was about waking up in the morning, and by the time it was 4:30 in the evening, you were either successful or you were a failure. In business, in films, in life, you had an opportunity to redo it again. And a lot of people ask me that what has been the most or the most difficult and the most satisfying role in all the portfolios you've held. I said, player and captain of India. And the reason I say this is because every morning I used to wake up with the challenge, with the fear, with the expectations, with the emotion of knowing that I have to succeed and I don't have a second chance. In business, in real life, if you make a mistake, you can wake up next morning and correct it and still move forward. But in sport, if you nick the delivery of Glenn McGrath outside the off stump, they will not ask you to bat again. So you are actually living on the edge. You are actually living a real life. And I say that to everyone, that when I finished playing, when I gave up the sport, at the end of the day, everything comes to an end. I said, that's the challenge I miss. When I train day in, day out, when I go back to the nets trying to master a shot, trying to master a performance, and then when I go and execute in the middle, and win matches for India, there is no better satisfaction than that. So when all of you, in this room and outside this room in this world are put under pressure of performance, pressure of expectancy, uh, just embrace it. Don't turn your face away, because as you keep doing it day in, day out, it'll become a part of your system. It'll become a part of your muscle memory. And over a period of time, you will realize that you are at your best when somebody puts pressure on you. It's the most successful, the best, I won't say the easiest, but the best is to find a way to deal with it. Find a way of success. Find a way of dealing with it, because every individual is different. An Indian batting lineup during my era had a Sehwag at the top who would hit every delivery. You had Rahul Dravid at number 3, and I'll tell you a small story. You know, the hardest thing in cricket when I was captain and as a batsman was to sit with Sehwag in the change room after he's got out. And the reason I say this is because you had Dravid at number 3, and with the new ball, you had someone who would leave deliveries outside the off stump. You know, you bowl that line outside the off stump, he'll keep leaving till the ball gets old. And then you had Sehwag at the top, whose way of making an new ball old is by hitting that. So there were two people. There were two people with completely contrasting styles of being successful, but both were tremendously successful. And when you sat next to Sehwag, and every time Dravid left a delivery outside the off stump, he would sit with his coffee and sometimes his masala Haryanvi chai and say 4, 2, 4. So after a while, you would turn back to him and say, "You get lost. You please go into the dressing room because your time is over. You've nicked the first ball of Jimmy Anderson to slips, and don't come and play an inning sitting next to me, because you look at cricket differently. I look at cricket differently. When you get an opportunity to bat, please go and hit these balls for 4." So the reason I say this is that every individual will have a way of handling pressure differently. But the basic thing is that you must still find your own way to handle pressure and handle success. There's no two individuals who will achieve things the same way. That's the rule of life, because everyone is blessed with different abilities, everyone is blessed with different talent. But as a leader, you must understand that your biggest challenge and your biggest way forward is to accept each other's individuality and find a way to success. You know, I had two individuals in my team, and I'm not going to take names because I see everybody taking a video, and this is not going to stay inside this room. There was a champion who was old school, who played cricket differently, who with discipline. If you would ask him the day before the test match, what would you do tomorrow? He said, I'll get up for breakfast at 7:30 in the morning. I'll be at the breakfast table. 8 o'clock, I'll be in the bus, well prepared for the test match. And when you look at him in the morning, you will see him doing exactly that meticulously. That is his preparation to succeed. And there was another young, absolutely talented individual. When as a captain, you woke up and you had to knock his door and say, "Are you up? We have a test match to play." So there were two individuals who were a part of the same team. There were two individuals who looked at sport differently, but when they both got into the middle, playing for the country, playing for the state, they delivered. And that is when I say that as a leader, it's very important to understand them. I know in business it's slightly easier because you have a group to help. You have a group of people on the same table to help. But in sport, it's a different, because when you're batting in the middle, it's about you. Nobody can help you. You have to find your own way to score. But as a leader, it's important that you understand their mechanism of success, their mechanism of doing well. Take the pressure away from them and understand that you will have to find a way in their manner for them to be successful. So it is about embracing pressure. It is about putting yourself day in, day out under that system, and you will realize that it becomes a muscle memory. My third reason of success is belief, self belief. It's a very common word in everyone's life. It's a very common word in everyone's life, but this it's a word which has a lot of weight and a lot of value. All our lives when we've grown up as a young boy in school, college, young entrepreneurs, senior entrepreneurs in this room, they say if you believe you can, you can. It's a very simple line, but it's a line which has enormous effect on every individual. And the difference between a successful person, a difference between a non-successful person, along with the efforts he puts in, along with the work he puts in to be successful, is that faith on himself, that I will do it. I will be successful. I will be successful for Blue Ocean. I'll be successful for India. That is the difference between a successful player and a non-successful. I'll tell you a small story. I had the fortune of seeing a very popular film star, very close to cricket, and a very popular film star in his life. I remember one morning, one afternoon, in those days, white ball cricket had started, and we were at Eden Gardens playing a cricket match, and it was raining. It was raining, and the game hadn't started, and we were sitting in the dressing room, and one of my colleagues asked him. He said, "You've been such a popular person. You're a successful man. People around the world look at you. You've entertained people for years. What is it that has made you successful?" And I still remember the lines he said that day. He was young, we were young as well, and this is about 2007, 2008. He said, I came to Bombay with nothing. I had no money. I was not a part of the film family. I was not part of the family who had already had their footprints in the film world, which obviously makes it a lot easier with the opportunities, with the name you have. I just came as an individual from one part of India with a name and a dream of becoming successful. He said, I was not as good looking as some. I was not as good as a dancer as some, you know, but what I used to do every morning is I used to stand in front of the mirror and tell to myself that I'll be the best with whatever I have. I'll work hard. I know what my skills are. I'm not the most good looking man. I don't have those six packs in my body. I'm not a muscular person, but I'll be such a good actor that my acting skills will take over the rest. And over the years, he became one of the most popular and one of the most successful actors over a period of time. My first trip to England in 1996, I was a young boy, and we had gone to Sussex to play. And I met the great Desmond Haynes. A lot of you must have seen Gordon Greenwich and Desmond Haynes, two of the greatest openers in world cricket at that time. He was the coach of Sussex County Cricket Club. We were playing a warm-up game in the month of April, and it was freezing in England, in Hove, in Brighton, with the breeze. It was absolutely cold, and I wasn't playing that game. I saw him sitting in one corner in the change room, and he was on his own. I went up to him and said, "Sir, you've been such a great player. You've been such a great player yourself. You've played for the West Indies for such a long period of time with success. What is it for you is the recipe to become a good player and a player who played for a long period of time? Very similar to your business, who you want to stay in the system for a long period of time." And I was a young boy, 22, 23 years of age. And I still remember what he told me that day. He said, Saurav, I played the best fast bowlers in the world. I played the likes of Thompson, Lilly, Bob Willis, Ian Botham, Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Kapil Dev, Richard Hadley, the great fast bowlers of the world. And I used to open. I used to open in different conditions. I would open in the flat pitches in India. I would open in the seaming pitches in England. I would open on the fast, quick pitches in Australia. I realized over a period of 100 test matches which I played, he said, the nights I went to sleep with the belief that I will hit the ball in the middle of the bat, 70% of the times I succeeded. And at times when I went to bed in the night with the thought that, maybe it's a wicket which will do a bit. Maybe Jeff Thompson is bowling the quickest in that phase of his life. Maybe Dennis Lilly is someone who can get me out. I invariably nicked it next morning. These are very simple words, but these are words which actually have a humongous effect in your journey to success, in your journey to build a good unit. Your body reacts to what your mind thinks. And if you want to be successful, if you want to do well, it's that mirror every morning in your life. When you wake up and say that I'm going to work hard, I'm going to give everything in me what I have to be successful, and there is no one better than me. It's not being arrogant. It's not about trying to tell the next one that you're not good enough. It's just about that inner strength in you, that inner feeling in you that I will be successful with whatever I have. As they say, if you believe you can, you will be successful. And the difference between the best and the not so very best, along with the hard work, along with the opportunities, is that faith on oneself that I will deliver come what may. It works like magic. Along with belief, it's about vision. It's about vision to be successful. And when you talk about Blue Ocean Corporation, they're successful brand in Dubai, successful corporate in Dubai, coming to India for the first time. They're coming to India with the vision, with the optimism, with the hope of bringing the same successful method what worked for them in Dubai in the last 26 years. It's about vision from the leadership. It's about what you want to achieve. The difference between the best and the normal ones is is the eyes looking higher, not lower. And I think that's where the vision of a leader comes in. It is what you want to make about the opportunities you have. It's about finding a way to create the best out of the opportunities you want. When I first became captain of India, we never had a fitness trainer. We never had a strength and conditioning coach. We had Indian coaches. I still remember in 1996, I went to England. I got two back-to-back hundreds in the first two test matches. For the entire 3 months of the tour to England, I did not know where the gym was because we never had that culture of going to the gym. For us, it was about getting into the nets, hitting some balls, taking catches, practicing, and get ready for the game. And when I first became captain, and a lot of you must have read at various places, that for me, it was about winning abroad. It was about being a good team away from home. India were always a good side at home with the likes of Kumble and Harbhajan and the great spinners we have produced over a long period of time. We were almost an unbeatable side at home. But as we got together as a young group with the likes of Dravid, Tendulkar, myself, we were all of the same age. Our biggest aim and goal was to become as good a side away from home as we are in India. Very similar to what Blue Ocean wants, being as good as in India, as good as they are in Dubai. So it was the vision of a few young people who wanted to change the way cricket was played and change the way people looked at us. When we went away, when we went abroad, people would think, oh, this team had some great players. There's a Tendulkar who will get 100. There's an Azharuddin who will get 100. Maybe Anil Kumble will pick 5 wickets. But at the end of the day, on day 5 of a test match, it's either England and Australia winning away from home. So as a leader, as a team, as a group of people, because as I said at the start, we will only succeed if we work together as a group, because that's what the business and the nature demands. It's the vision of all of you together of how you want to go forward as a brand. Whether you just want to be happy being successful in Dubai, or you want to create a similar or probably a bigger unit in a bigger country with bigger reach like India. And I think that's where vision of leadership, that's where vision of taking for way forward goes. And I think in your journey to achieve this, it's very important that along with the leadership group, it's the people, because I've always said you can have the owners, you can have the leaders, but a brand, a company, a team is made successful by its members. And I've said that, people who work for you are the backbone of you. I became a good captain because I was not the only one scoring hundreds. I became a good captain because Dravid got 100. Tendulkar got 100. Kumble got 5 wickets. Zahir Khan got 5 wickets. And it's the same thing with Blue Ocean. If you individually stand up and perform, as a group, you will be more successful. So vision and belief is more important. I know I don't have much time. I just have 20 minutes, I think. And when I start talking, I cross 20 minutes easily. I'll finish. I've got a lot of things to say, but I'll sum it up and finish. For me, in your journey to success, in your journey to leadership, it's very important to handle when the chips are down. When the chips are down, because as you grow up, as you grow up, you will face situations where it will not be easy. You will face situations where the profits will not be what you want. If you'll face situations that your expectations at that quarter in the balance sheet has not been reflected. Maybe your clientele is not happy, but you still have to find a way to succeed and hold yourself under tough situations, because every individual will go through a tough situation. There's no one in the world who has not gone through a down after seeing the highs of life. And I'll tell you from an experience of mine, not just mine, a lot of people who I've known over a long period of time. I got dropped in 2006 after 10 years of being a successful player, captain, and after 10 years of a graph which was just upwards. I know Jayesh is here. He's been a part of the cricketing fraternity with me for a long period of time. And I wasn't dropped because I couldn't play. I was dropped because of reasons beyond the game. I was captain for a long period of time, and very rarely in any sport you'll see, from being a captain, from being a successful leader, from being the boss, to not even getting an opportunity in the 11 of the side. And the reason I say this to all of you, because those 6 months of my life probably made me a better person, a better player, and a tougher individual. I remember my conversations with my dad in India. If your son plays cricket, it's actually the dad and mom who's playing more than the son. That's how they are involved. And that's how they're so connected, so and as I said, involved with their. And I remember one Sunday sitting with him, and India were playing very well. India were winning, and he came up to me and said, "I don't think you'll play for India again." I was just 32, 33. And he said, "You'll not play for the country again." So I listened to him because I knew he was an anxious dad who wanted me to play, wanted me to do well, and he was sad that I was not being a part of the team and the circumstances in which I was left out. I didn't tell him much. 10, 12 days later, he again came back to me. India kept winning. He said, every time India wins, it gets more difficult for you. And then there were actually headlines in the newspaper that every India win, Ganguly's comeback gets delayed. The headlines in the newspaper. And I could see my father being affected by it. So as I listened to him for about, I won't say discussed, I listened to him for a few weeks, and I said, can I tell you something? He said, yes. He said, I'm 32, 33. I've played for 10 years. 10 years, I've seen the best captain, the most successful captain at that time. I said, I've got two options in life. Either I just be happy with it, that you've achieved so much, played more than 300 games for India, captain, the rest of your life you'll be still respected and loved by people, or I give it a try. Because once I get to 40, I will not be able to play the sport, because the demands of sport becomes tougher and tougher with age. It's not like business, it's not like corporates, that as you grow older you get more experience, more valuable. Sport is completely the other way around. So I told him, I'm going to give it a try and we'll see what happens. If I make it, I make it. If I don't make it, I don't make it. Because I still wanted to play the game. Playing the game that's all what I did in my life, and I still wanted to do it again. I trained and trained. I knew Indian cricket a bit more than he did. And he was obviously a dad who loved his son and wanted the best for him. But in life, you don't get the best all the time. 6 months later, India were touring South Africa and didn't have a great one-day series. And I was called back into the test side. I had a very, very young, good, lovable friend. He was a journalist. He was a photographer. As soon as my name got announced, he picked up the phone and said, "Why South Africa? The quick pitches. They have the best fast bowlers in the world. The team is not playing well at the moment. Why have they picked you for South Africa? 3 test matches. You were back in India. West Indies were here. Flat pitches. You'll score lots of runs. Why do you want to go to South Africa?" So I just listened. I said, that's not in my hands, and I've got selected, so I have to go. I can't tell them I can't go. I went to South Africa. And I finished that series with the most runs as a batsman. I came back. I got picked in the one-day series and played even better. Played for a period of 4 years, scored thousands of runs over those 4 years. The reason I tell you this is because in your journey to be successful, in your journey to making this brand a very successful brand in India, in the world, you will go through these situations where people will reject you. And as you grow older, your bosses will think the younger boy is better than you. Let's invest in youth because they have future. They'll deliver. That's the way forward for the business. But it doesn't work like that. If you lose the music inside you, you will lose the battle. And the reason I say this is because I retired after 5 years since that incident, and that night when I went back to the dressing room and said to my teammates that this is going to be my last series, I was still at my best. I don't want to play anymore. And the answer which came back from them is why. This is the best I've seen you bat in the last 4-5 years. And I'm talking about a career of 15-16 years. The reason I tell you this is in your journey to success, you'll have when people will not believe in you, when the chips will be down, but you need to persist. You need to have that faith. You need to have that ability to work hard, because all of us, when we grow, when we become bigger, when we travel, we want an arm around the shoulder saying that, no, you're good. You're good. You have the talent. You have the ability. You will do well. But there will be a time in life when that arm will not be around the shoulder because people will lose faith in you. And you will realize that if you work hard, if you keep doing what you did for a long period of time, you will actually be better than what you were when everybody had faith in you. Because you realize that, it's all about you. I went into test matches, went into series, went into one days thinking that this could be my last. If I don't play well, I will not get an opportunity again. So I had to play well. And when you go through that period of tough situations, when you go through that period of losses, when you go through that period of unsuccessful times, you will actually realize that your capability, your characteristics, your deliverables are actually better than what it is when you are at your best. So as I finish, and as I know I had 20 minutes, I must have spoken more than that. And I finished with one line for all of you to carry it back, because I've spoken a lot of things, and to carry it back in your life, in whatever you do, whether business, whether for Blue Ocean, whether your individual capacity, it's actually not over till you believe it's over. The world can believe that it's done, it's over, but it's actually not over till you believe it's over. Thank you.
Totally, totally. Everyone, can we give a standing ovation for these words? Believe you me, we don't count the time. We honestly would have loved even the day would have passed. Saurav sir, I would just say one thing. It was like Krishna guiding to Arjuna, giving up power, and we all were totally awestruck, getting this motivation to do better and better in our life. Ladies and gentlemen, truly I would say the way you have taken all the guidance, inspiration, and motivation, I want to hear that round of applause from your side. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Mr. Saurav Ganguly, I have a question. I have seen your photograph of 2000, 2001, and I see the photograph of you 2024. You never age. What is the secret? Can I know on the mic, please? What is the secret behind never aging?
It's the same for me and Jayesh. Makeup. I don't know what it is. So, and it's not the same as 2001. Your body looks different from outside. Within inside, it's a bit different. And I see a lot of gray hairs, a lot of less hairs, a lot of white beards. They'll agree to what I'm saying. That it's not the same
But
when you.
believe me, I don't see any change in
In
you.
2001, I was how old? I was 20, 27. It's not the same.
On behalf of everyone present here, on behalf of my entire team of Blue Ocean Corporation and entire India and the world, I would like to say big thank you for all your contribution, for all your efforts in bringing this industry and taking India on a global map. Thank you so much, Mr. Saurav Ganguly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your words that truly resonates and added immense value in the international procurement and supply chain management. Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to take a moment to honor and felicitate Mr. Ganguly for his presence and contribution. To do the honor, let me welcome on the stage Mr. Abdul Aziz, Group Chairman, Blue Ocean Corporation. May I invite on the stage Mr. John Ellis, Chief Operating Officer, Blue Ocean Corporation. State, Mr. George, Director Corporate Relations, Kochi, Honorary President of KCA and ex-BCCI Joint Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome on the stage Dr. Satya Menon, Group CEO, Blue Ocean Corporation. Also, we would like to welcome on the stage Mr. Mohammad Al Ali, Managing Director and Head of GTB Sales, Global Transaction Banking Dubai and Group Vice Chairman of Blue Ocean Corporation. May I please request Dr. Satya Menon to please. Everyone, can we have a group photo? All of you together. Please give a big, big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
So it was an inspirational speech by our own Dada. So before we, provide him our token of appreciation, I would like to announce, with your permission, that Dada is going to join Blue Ocean Board of Directors.
Woohoo! What a great news that is!
So I'm sure with his leadership capability, he will give us the right inputs, vision to take Blue Ocean forward and a bigger brand in India, like we are in other parts of the world. Thank you. Thank you, Dada.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you so much for being a part of Blue Ocean Corporation. What a beautiful moment this is, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, I request Mr. Saurav Ganguly and Dr. Satya Menon to please be on the stage. And I thank everyone. Thank you for joining me on the stage. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving on to a very special segment of our event, the International Procurement and Supply Chain Awards 2024. These awards recognize outstanding achievements and innovation in the supply chain industry. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward, as we begin the IPSC Awards ceremony, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the tremendous efforts and dedication of our esteemed jury. Thank you so much. We would also like to thank everyone who has submitted their nominations for the award. Today, we have 7 corporate categories and 1 individual category. We shall start with the corporate category and then move on to the individual. As I call out the names of the winner, please come and join us on the stage. My humble request to all the winners, after you collect your award, kindly stay close to the stage, as we would like you to join us for the group photograph on stage at the end of the award distribution ceremony. Okay, so without further ado, let us get started with the first category. These awards recognize outstanding achievements in providing sustainable services that minimize that minimizes environmental impact and promote long-term ecological balance. This year, we are proud to announce and introduce the category dedicated to sustainability, reflecting our commitment to a greener future. First, we have the award for the excellence in sustainable services. And this award goes to India's largest retailer, Reliance Retail, for launching sustainability initiative titled Bhool Na Jana Plastic Bottle Lautana. And to receive the award, I would like to invite on the stage Mr. Rachit Rumta, Head Central Supply Chain Consumer Product and Head Networking Planning, Reliance Retail. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Rachit Rumta. The initiative launched in partnership with Coca-Cola focused on post-consumer pet collection at Reliance retail stores in Mumbai. Through reversing vending machines and collection bins, the disposed pet bottles will be collected the disposed PET bottles will be collected and recycled by the Reliance industry, a leader in recycling of polyester and plastic. With a vision of circular economy, this pilot project aligned with government's Swachh Bharat mission and has commenced in 36 stores of Reliance Retail, including Smart Bazaar and Sakahari Bandar stores in Mumbai and Delhi. Ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate once again Reliance Retail. Thank you, Mr. Rachit Runga. Ladies and gentlemen, the next award is for excellence in logistics. And this award goes to VTrans India for their exceptional performance in logistics strategies and practices that enhance the overall supply chain management. To receive the award, I would like to invite on the stage Mr. Mahendra Shah, CMD VTrans, and Mr. Rajiv Bhattacharya, Vice President Strategy and Projects VTrans India. VTrans takes India pride for delivering the excellence in all the aspects of business, from being an iconic brand to being the best in corporate governance to the best integrated logistics solutions and being the champion in surface transport. Congratulations, VTrans India, and thank you, Mr. Rajiv Bhattacharya and Mahendra Shah. Congratulations. Our next category is the award in excellence in pharma supply chain. And this award goes to ACG Worldwide for their ability to successfully integrate automation and AI into capsule production process. And to receive this award, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the stage Mr. Nikunj Desai, Head Global Supply Chain, ACG Worldwide. ACG's capsule manufacturing factory in Pithampur was recently incorporated into the World of Economic Forum's Global Lighthouse Network. ACG's achievement as the world's first capsule manufacturing facility to join this prestigious network underlines the pivotal role of automation in shaping the future of pharmaceutical productions. Congratulations, ACG Worldwide and Mr. Nikunj Desai. Ladies and gentlemen, can you give a huge round of applause for awardees and for their contribution? Now comes the award for excellence in circular supply chain, a category honoring excellence in implementing circular supply chain practices through recycling and reducing waste throughout the supply chain process. And this award goes to Henkel. To receive this award, please welcome on the stage Mr. Ramit Mahajan, Head Customer Experience Supply Chain, IMEA, Henkel. 100% of Henkel's packaging is designed and developed to optimize recycling and reusability by 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause. Congratulations, Henkel. Thank you, Mr. Ramit Mahajan. Moving on to the next category is the award for excellence in procurement. And this award goes to Eveready Industries India. And to receive this award, may I please call on the stage Mrs. Rekha Bhagwat, West Regional HR Head. This award recognizes Eveready's excellence in procurement practices, highlighting outstanding achievements in sourcing, supplier management, and procurement strategies, driving overall value and efficiency. Congratulations, Eveready Industries India, and thank you, Mrs. Rekha Bhagwan. Next, we have the award for Women in Shipping and Maritime Logistics, a category honoring the contribution and leadership of an organization that has excelled in its outstanding efforts to support and foster a community of Women Maritime Professionals. And the award goes to Maritime CEO Sitara Shipping. To receive the award, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on the stage Mrs. Sanjam Sahi Gupta, Director, Sitara Shipping. Maritime CEO is committed to creating the next generation of women leaders in shipping and maritime and promoting gender equality in the industry. The organization strives to empower women in the maritime sector through advocacy, education, and collaboration. Congratulations, Maritime CEO. Thank you, Mrs. Sanjam Sahi Gupta, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, थोड़ी सी तालियों के साथ everyone give a big round of applause for their contribution, for their efforts in the industry. Our next category is the award for excellence in community-based supply chain, and this award goes to Fab India. To receive this award, I would like to call on the stage Mr. Nitin Joshi, Head of Warehousing and Logistics, Fab India. Since its inception, Fab India has showcased as an exceptional commitment to integrating local artisans and community into their supply chain, creating sustainable livelihoods and promoting traditional craftsmanship. Fab India's innovative approach has exemplified how community-centric supply chains can drive both economic and social benefits. Congratulations, Fab India, and thank you, Mr. Nitin Joshi. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, that concludes our corporate categories. We will now move on to our individual category, which is the award for an outstanding leader. This year, we are giving it away to someone who has shown exceptional leadership capabilities in the shipping industry. And the award for an outstanding leader goes to Mr. Krishnan Subramaniam. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Krishnan Subramaniam. Krishnan Subramaniam is seasoned professional in the areas of supply chain, logistic, and commercial shipping. Currently, he is the International Vice Chairman of the Institute of Chartered Ship Brokers, UK. He is also strategic advisor to the Trans World Group of Companies, UAE. Congratulations, Mr. Krishnan Subramaniam. Very well deserved. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a very special, congratulations, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have a very special appreciation award. We have our very special guest who has come all the way from UAE, from Dubai to Mumbai just to attend the IPSC 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome on the stage Major Omar Mohammad Zubair Mohammad Al Marzuki, Chairman of Omar Zubair Al Marzuki Group of Companies, UAE. An Emirati national, Major Omar's leadership and dedication have greatly impacted the business landscape. Sir, it is an honor to recognize your outstanding achievements. Congratulations, sir, and thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more special award for the day, which is the award for the outstanding leadership in community empowerment. This award recognizes an exceptional leader who has demonstrated exemplary leadership and an unwavering commitment to empowering communities and driving a positive change for community welfare. Ladies and gentlemen, the award for outstanding leadership in community empowerment goes to Mr. Sajeev Purushothaman, CEO, DigiBrain. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Sajeev Purushothaman. Congratulations, sir, for your phenomenal achievement. Congratulations to you. Thank you, Mr. Sajeev Purushothaman. Sir, I request you to please be on the stage. Please come back and be on the... Okay, I request all the awardees. All right, may I request all the awardees? Please come forward. And for the group photo, also I would be requesting Mr. Abdul Aziz, Group Chairman, Blue Ocean Corporation, Mr. Mohammad Al Ali, Group Vice Chairman, Blue Ocean Corporation, Mr. John Ellis, Chief Operating Officer, Blue Ocean Corporation. May I request Mr. Jayesh George, Director, Corporate Relations, Blue Ocean Kochi, Honorary President of KCA and ex-BCCI Joint Secretary. I would request Mr. Douglas Kent, Executive Vice President, Corporate and Strategic Alliances, Association for Supply Chain Management, and Mr. Grant, may I request you to please join me on the stage. Regional Head, Global Channels and Alliances, Middle East and Africa at ASCM to please join Mr. Saurav Ganguly and Dr. Satya Menon on the stage for the group photo. A photo to remember a historic moment, I would say, celebrating this moment together. Everyone with a thunderous round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. With a nice smile, cheers to this moment. Achievers and leaders together. On that note, I would like to say thank you to all the awardees and leadership team to please be on the stage. Leadership team to remain on the stage. Thank you, awardees. Now, quickly, I would like to call all the employees of Blue Ocean Corporation to come and join for a group photo, requesting everyone to hurry up, please, and let's take a nice photo together. Team Blue Ocean Corporation, fantastic, the platform, and here we are at IPSC 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give a big round of applause and say thank you to our Blue Ocean Corporation team. Thank you so much for giving us this platform to network, to meet, and excel in our businesses. All right, one more photo. I would not want to miss this photo. All right, may I request my beautiful team to please come and join once again, and let's have a nice photo together. Please come, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a beautiful day this is, ladies and gentlemen, filled with motivation, filled with energy, and absolutely the talk that we will never forget. The words of Mr. Saurav Ganguly we'll always and always remember. Once again, a big thank you. Once again, a big thank you to our chief guest, Mr. Saurav Ganguly, for joining us here today at the International Procurement and Supply Chain Conference 2024 in Mumbai. Such a great honor to have you here amongst us today. Can we have some nice music? Thank you, Saurav Dada, for all your words. We are truly thankful for everything. I request everyone to please take your seats. Saurav Dada is always with us now as a board member in Blue Ocean Corporation. So I request everyone to please take your seats. Thank you. The party, the celebration is still on, ladies and gentlemen. May I request all of you to remain seated. A very important announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you're having a good experience today. Blue Ocean Corporation has 6,000 plus Google reviews. And to share your experience today's conference, I request you all to please write us a review on Google. Also, I would like to request everyone to please wear your lanyards. We also have a photo booth outside. You're most welcome to take some nice photos, videos, and while uploading them on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media accounts, do not forget to use the hashtag IPSC 2024 Mumbai and Blue Ocean Corporation. Most importantly, you will receive your certificate of attendance on your registered email address, so please do check your inbox. All right, I see the time right now, 30 past 1. Hungry? So bhook lagi? Little hungry? Yeah? Yeah or no? Yes or no? I would like to ask my South Africa team, hungry or not? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, of course. Now, okay. So now I announce, and I would like to invite everyone for the power lunch. Let's enjoy the lunch together, talk to each other, explore the new horizons of business, network, and connect. I request everyone to please join me at networking lunch. Along with that, it's in my clock. It's 1:37. I request you all to please be back by 2:20. 2:20 p.m. we are going to meet at the same place, and I shall see you then.